Okay.
E36 Unfiltered, aka the Unfiltered Room with Mr. E Gray. Introducing all the latest names and the latest news. Hottest take, he the new face, yeah, the new sound, but keep it old school. Raw interviews from local athletes, even digging off and entertainment too. Own style, he got his own lane, it's unfiltered dog, we keep it raw, man. New content to keep the people ready. E36, no Jerome Bait, it's real dialogue and real conversations. You keep it real, but we real. Mr. E Gray in the building. E36 Unfiltered.
Welcome live, everybody. How you guys doing, man? It's your boy E Great from the E36 Unfiltered Room podcast, guys. We getting in here today, guys. Coming here, just kind of doing a little self-talk, guys. Gonna be just me talking about some of the latest events that have taken place here, and that I really want to talk about in sports. Some things going on, and also some things I've been wanting to talk about for a minute, but just adjusting to a lot of things going on, so I haven't been able to get on here as quick as I wanted to, but today I gotta do it. I was determined to go ahead and get it in, make it happen. So guys, anyway, while you come on here, make sure, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button, that share button. You come on in here, guys, come in and join the podcast, and definitely the forum will be open for people to give your comments and things, your thoughts about this. It's kind of more of an impromptu thing. I really didn't really go into depths as far as me announcing it. I was like, hey, I just want to jump on here and just talk a little bit. So anyway, we're gonna get that started, get that rocking and rolling. Once again, guys, hit that like button, hit that share button, all those good things here. Also, you can find us on all platforms, audio platform, Anchor. You get us on Anchor. Also, gonna find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Overcast, Radio Public, and also on our video streaming. You can also watch it on YouTube, either on our E36 Unfiltered page. Again, it's E36 Unfiltered page. All right. Also, guys, you can follow us on Instagram as well. We're going to be showing at E36 Unfiltered. It's at E36 Unfiltered. Without further ado, guys, you are listening to okay. I was going to talk about this. Go subscribe, guys. Don't wait. Go subscribe to my page, E36 Unfiltered. All right, E36 Unfiltered. And like I always like to say, guys, you are listening to the best live entertainment and sports podcast show out in the market. All right, guys, so I'm not going to waste much time. Go get into it. I'm not going to plan on being on here long at all. All right, so I want to start with the hot topic from the jump, man. As everybody knows me, I am a huge, not a big, but a huge Shannon Sharp. I'll call him Uncle Shay. Watch his podcast that he got going on now. It's been going on very successfully. I think it's been going on maybe a year, maybe a little bit over a year now at this point. Shade, Uncle Shay Club, Shay Room, and everything. Club Shay. And also, of course, him and Skip Bayless on the on First Thing First. And with that being said, guys, it has been some things that has happened lately with those guys, where it seemed like to be a lot of form of disrespect that has taken place, that has been quite surprising, that has happened dating back a few weeks back, when everybody knows how big of a homer that Skip Bayless is about Tom Brady. And the thing about Skip, when he down for you, he is down for you 10 toes down. Most of the time, even over the top, even to a detriment. No matter if you're doing wrong or not, he's gonna ride with you. And so, anyway, one thing I like about Shannon, he's gonna keep it 100. Everybody know at the same time, he's also a big Braun guy. Shannon Sharp is a very big Braun guy. But on more than one occasion, he has, put blame on Braun. He didn't show up, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. And being rightfully so, calling it like it is. Now, to go further into that, and the reason why I brought that up, because it's very important to understand, guys, you guys come on here, make sure you hit that like button. I see someone you like it and everything, appreciate it. It's also very more important to understand that you have to be fair. And Shannon has a rich history. He's a multi-time Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer, won Super Bowl, 3-time Super Bowl champion, and has been brought on to Skip Bayless' platform, and now really has kind of become his own man. He's the star of the show. He's the one that engine that rides it. It was nothing more evident than the day where Shannon decided not to show up, and Skip had to run the show by himself. It was like watching paint dry. It wasn't that good. It just wasn't good at all. To be honest with you, it wasn't something that entertained much me at all. And looking at some of the ratings, is one of the lower ratings that it had since the show began. And in addition to that, he has this podcast. Same thing. It's not fun watching Skip Bayless talk when he can't use his antics to berate or belittle people actually in a long way. So anyway, without further ado, started with Tom Brady deal. Tom Brady had a bad game, and Shannon Sharpe was rightfully critiquing and criticizing Tom Brady performance. Because I mean, let's be honest, he is the guy. He is the GOAT for quarterbacks in the NFL. There's no disputing that. But as of late, this year has been a rough year for Brady. It looks like he has finally hit that wall and tipped over it, and that this may be his last curtain call. Which he just completed that playoff game that he was able to make it in through their division with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it didn't go well as the Dallas Cowboys pretty much just shut him down and shut him out. So anyway, Skip was Tom Brady, not Tom Brady, but Shannon Sharpe was making his critique, and it started going off. Skip just couldn't take it. Skip just reached his boiling point and decided and began to berate and belittle Shannon Sharpe by making comments about his football career, and to the tune of he's better than you. He's better than you ever have been. He's better than you. You ain't nobody. This and that. Saying things of that nature to belittle him. And Shannon's like, okay, really, okay. Then he was like, you would never at no point the type of player that Tom Brady was. And Skip, Shannon was like, okay, so it don't matter. That's fine. Okay, I can hear you, but that means he ain't playing bad. That's still the truth to be to be said and be spoken. And they went and Skip went a little further. He was like, he kept on saying what he was saying. And, after a while, Shannon just got ticked off. Like, wait a minute. I'm in the pro football effing Hall of Fame. I'm in the pro football effing Hall of Fame. He said, I don't care. Who cares about that? What you really? And he like, yo, really, Skip? You gonna do this? You gonna belittle me to big up him because I'm critiquing his game? Like, really? This is what you gonna do this? You can tell it got heated. It got real. What really happened when it got real is when Shannon took off his glasses and set them down, and you knew then, okay, oh yeah, this ain't plotted. No, this real. This really just got real. In addition to that, then this is where it bothered me more because to see the lack of respect in general. I think Skip definitely hit below the belt. I think that's clear to say that with his comments of trying to belittle Shannon Sharpe's career, Hall of Fame career, go down as one of the best tight ends to ever play the game. The fact that he's in the Hall of Fame at his position lets you know he's one of the best to ever play at his position, and won multiple championships. So he has nothing to hide, nothing to be ashamed about. But anyway, when he like put your shades back, put your glasses back on, he almost like sunned him. It was like, I'm gonna let you know I run this show. It became you was like first time to clearly be able to see that ego stand up nice and tall, and you could tell that was a situation that was something that really, and I think that set the media world on fire. Twitter blew up, all social media was talking about it, sharing it. Even Shaq and Charles Barkley made a little joke out of it, which Shannon was able to take lightly and laugh about it. I think like a week later or whatever when it happened. But you can tell it looked like that was kind of the beginning of the end. Okay. At that point, it really looked like that was like, okay, I don't know how much longer this is going to last, because at this point, Shannon really doesn't need Skip Bayless anymore, for what he has done. He's thankful for it. And he often talks about how much he appreciates Skip for allowing him to be able to be on that platform, to give him the opportunity that he now has. But nevertheless, that to me, that was definitely below the belt, and I think that's the beginning of the end. Now, what I want to get to with this, I'm gonna call it Skip tweet, and everybody know, man, it just constantly something about Skip, man. He loves. I never seen a man that has built his career upon trying to destroy and belittle another man that's great, and not only what he do, but a great man on and off the court, and LeBron James. But I digress. That's what he do. That's who he is. So anyway, they're talking about the tweet. This was goes on to it. This tweet that really set everything off ablaze was the tweet that not Shannon Sharpe, Skip sent on the night of DAMAR HAMLIN. DAMAR HAMLIN, who had that horrific injury that collapsed on the field, on-field collapse went in cardiac arrest, heart stopped. They had to resuscitate himself on the field, which was a very devastating and like, whoa, this is really happening type of deal. And with that happened, you can tell people start tweeting, people, talking about their prayers up to him and everything. Just the whole nine, and just everything was all about that young man, and which it should have been. Not about the game, not about next week, not about the score to get nothing. It was about this young man life flashed in front of our eyes. We saw that we literally was able to see this guy die for a moment in time, not knowing at that time, but died on the field and be brought back to life. That was one of our worst nightmares to ever see that as a former player myself for many, many years. And that is something that we know we go on the field for that type of danger. We know these things are there, but to see it actually happen, it doesn't happen that often. You can see the effect that it had on not only his teammates, but even the opposing team, to the point where they say, we're not even playing this game, we call the game. But not to go off into that, because I'm going to jump back on that. You can see the tweet that Skip sent that really set things off within the media world all over, and directly impacted somebody like Shannon Sharp was no doubt the NFL. He tweeted, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game. But how? Bayless tweeted, this late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. In a follow-up tweet, Bayless insisted that he wasn't hand-wringing about the outcome of the game, stating nothing is more important than the young man's health. That was the point of my last tweet. I'm sorry if it was misunderstood, but his health is all that matters. Again, everything else is irrelevant. I pray for him and will continue to. So Skip knew that tweet struck a nerve. And to me, this is me, I'm actually going to be on the other side of it. I don't think that tweet was that bad. I don't think so. I read the whole entirety of the tweet. Now, would I said he should have reworded that tweet? Absolutely. He should have started with, the prayers, my prayers and thoughts are with DAMAR HAMLIN as this young man fight for his life. Prayers up to him and his family. And maybe he would have said something about, at this point in time, I don't know how the game going to get rescheduled. But of course, at this point, nothing else matters. The outcome of the game does not matter, or next week is all about that man. If he would kind of went some type of way of that, but for him, it's almost like it was an afterthought to speak on what was actually happening, what was actually the important topic at that time, which was this young man's life that is hanging on by a thread. And Shannon Sharp, you can tell that a football family. I know from coming from that, playing for Alabama football, man, and just even my guys, I was at a play in the different leagues, the Arena Football League and things of that nature. We form a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood that lasts for a lifetime. I'm talking to guys that I would say, speak on Alabama specifically, I'm in a group me for guys that I haven't played. I didn't even play with, but with maybe I said out of 20 or 30 of them that are on there, I only played with maybe 3 or 4 of them at that time, 3 or 4 of them during that time, because it stretched from last up till some before me and after me. You know what I'm saying? So it has a very big, wide range of that, but it's a brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? When one of us weep, we all weep. We all pray about that. Absolutely. So when you say that, man, that's like a very sensitive subject. My man Kyle speaking on that. So, but anyway, it's a brotherhood. I talk about that. So Shannon the next day, surprisingly, did not show up. And I ain't gonna lie, I was shocked about that. I'm like, whoa, he ain't even showing up on this thing. Like, I didn't know for sure. I didn't want to jump to conclusion about the reason why he didn't show up. I was just like, that's a bit surprising, that he not showing up. Maybe the people immediately went into, oh, it's because of what happened with the tweet he sent. And I'm like, we don't know that just yet. I ain't gonna say that. We don't know that. Clearly, that's what it was. And he came on the next day and spoke about that. And Shannon went into his monologue, and before he can even get 20 seconds into it, Skip cut him off. Well, no, I'm not apologizing for my tweet. And he's like, what? Skip, I can't even finish. You know what? I can't even finish a monologue. He said, no, but you saying what I wasn't expecting you to say this. I didn't know you could come on here and say this. So no, I'm not standing for it, and I'm not apologizing for it. I don't apologize. He obviously did apologize for it, because he followed up with if you guys have misunderstood my tweet, I'm not talking. I wasn't trying to belittle the situation, yada yada, which I do believe that. So But anyway, it went on, and you could tell that situation got very heated, and to the point where Shannon was like, you know what, man, you know what, don't, no, go ahead, Skip, no, you got it, Jenny, y'all go ahead, y'all, come on. And Skip was obviously Skip was taken aback because he was under the impression that Shannon was not going to speak on that. But Shannon felt he owed it to his viewers, us, and I felt he did. And I'm glad he cleared it up. No, let's make it clear. I didn't show up because I did not want to come on here and this show would be about the tweet or and take away from the real effect of DAMAR Hamlin fighting for his life. And so for me, that was a very big thing, man. You guys, again, when you come on here, guys, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, like button, share button, all those good things. So when it happened, man, that really shook a lot of people, and it shook me. And so to hear him talk about that and come up clear, like, hey, no, it was about XYZ. I think that was very big on Shannon to go ahead and say, let's clear the room, let's set it straight. But you can see right there that was a real tension that was still existing. And since then you have heard rumblings of if they really even like each other, or this is just an arrangement that has been put together by the network. And I even listened to Wiley, Marcellus Wiley talks about FS1. Fox is well known for letting people continue to work things out and just work through these things, and work under these levels of tension. Pretty much like, hey, y'all making good show, y'all making good ratings, figure it out, keep it going. We're gonna let this stuff stop us. But anyway, to talk about that, man, I think that for me, this is the problem I had. I didn't have a problem with necessarily that he spoke on the answer the importance, but I wonder how they're gonna deal with this rescheduling this game. It was the timing of it. And there's somebody who Skip Bayless, who's been in the game since the 70s, a beat writer. He started a long time ago out in Texas, Oklahoma area, and to have so much experience, and even Skip Stephen A spoke about this. And as much as he gives so much credit to Skip, allowing him to have the opportunity and the platform to become who he is today. And he talks about how he indebted to him and how he's a dear friend. But even him spoke candidly about Skip was wrong. He was wrong. He knew. You've been in the game too long to know when to and know how to use your words wisely and know when a tweet can be taken as controversial, when it can be taken out of context, and when it's really just something that you just don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? He knows these things. And so for him to do that and put it out there and then try to have the audacity to stand on it, which was even kind of worse when it came to, even Shannon had spoke about, hey, man, they had a problem with it. No, nobody had a problem with it. Or what Skip said. He said, what you mean? That's what the network, the president of the network was saying he wants you to apologize for it. Basically spoke on that. And which was true. You can go research that yourself. So that's the thing about it, man. It's just like some people know what they're doing and what they're not doing, and some people can hit that send button, don't think about it. Skip is not a person that tweets often at all. He's very savvy what he does. He's very smart. I hear he's a great guy off the mic, but in that moment, it's like, Skip, you had to know, putting so much emphasis on the game versus putting very, very minimum emphasis on the actual life of a human being was going to be taken in a way. Now, on the flip side, I say that it's something that definitely could have been utilized or posted in a different way. But you also saw on the flip side, so many athletes don't like Skip. So many people don't like Skip. I.e. Terrell Owens, Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, the list goes on, and they did not wait one iota second to get on live and listen to the first thing smoking that was going to be willing to record them and air them out as why, hey, see, this is what I'm talking about. Yep, this is Skip. Yep, here's who he is. Yada yada yada. It was quickly going at him, and I didn't like that part, because of where I think it came from, because it was the guys that were doing it. Like a Stephen A. Smith, he didn't really want to do it, but Stephen A. Smith was going to be, because he's a friend of Skip. But he was like, I got to call a spade, man. You was wrong. It was wrong. It was wrong in the sense that you lack the insensitivity and intellect that I know that you have, and put that tweet out there anyway, and then try to stand on it 10 toes down became more of a pride issue type of deal. So, I think that we're gonna, if you guys can tune in, you want to tap in on that, man. I think we have seen the beginning of the end of Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, and I actually hope we have. I'm a one of a person that I'm all about love and support, and especially when it comes to our athletes, man. I'm a former athlete myself, and trying to minimize us to what we do on the field of play is belittling within itself. And to see somebody else, I never can respect somebody else who I feel build their career off the back of another man. Trying to prey on his downfall, always looking to down talk him, and that is a Skip Bayless on a LeBron James. This guy, it's almost like sacrilegious to see him, to hear him say positive things about LeBron outside of, to this day, I think he's still the best driver in basketball ever. Okay, that's what you're gonna give him. That's other than that, that's it. He's the best driver of the basketball I've ever seen, that we ever seen in the NBA. Okay, cool. All right, so that's that, man. Now, what I want to move on to, guys, with that being said, DAMAR HAMLIN has made a remarkable recovery. He was able to be at the previous playoff game for the Bills, and their victory, man. It was something they was very excited about and talking about, and you can see, man, the out loving support that this young man has received throughout this process, and not only that, but also just the unity, the beauty of the unity that we was able to see displayed with such things that was going on. To me, brought so much more beauty to that situation, and I support it so much. Me, my man Chris James coming in here putting on his post. It almost seems like a PR stunt. We know players don't like Skip, and he knew his post was going to blow up in a negative light. You know what? That's what I'm saying. That was a good point. Yeah, it just came out very, like you said, you like Skip, you too schooled in the game. You have too much longevity in the game to not think that tweet was going to be able to, that it wasn't going to ruffle some feathers and send the sharks out after you. And then to, one thing I did, he stood in it 10 toes down for better or for worse, but that's very tacky, man. It's very tacky on Skip and how he handled that. But like I said, likewise, in a way, the players use that opportunity, or former players, different people that didn't like him, use that chance to say, this is what it is, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. You earned it. You got to stand on it. You got to take it for what it is. You don't want to put it out there. All right. My man Jimmy, what's up, man? Tuning in, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button. See James, man. If you want to jump in, you let me know, bro. We can talk. We can rap. All right. I'm moving on to the next topic, guys. So I want to speak on that, man. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think it's over for Skip and Shannon? Uncle Shay. Now, what I'm moving to, guys, this is a topic, man, that I've been waiting to talk about for quite some time, and that is, I'm going to hide that one up. Did the college football playoff committee get it wrong, or did they get it right? Let's talk about it, man. Let's definitely talk about it. As you guys see, we was able to unfortunately witness the most lopsided, boring, embarrassing, debilitating, demoralizing loss ever in any championship of any sport, when the TCU Horned Frogs took on the Georgia Bulldogs, the defending national champions, and they lost this game 65-7 in favor of the Georgia Bulldogs of the SEC. Shout out to the SEC once again, takes home the crown. I think it's now not even a debate of the strongest conference. But anyway, that's another story for another day. You're looking at that, man, and at one point in time, I think we was able to say, hey, they got to shoot people, like, feel like a lot of players, a lot of people, former players and fans, different things, was happy that Alabama wasn't in it, and a lot of them felt that Alabama should have been in it. Find a way to get into having 2 losses of 4 points or better, and I think 4 points or less, compared to Ohio State, who got beat, trounced by 28 points. I think it was 20-something points to Michigan in the final game of the season, and then in addition to TCU losing their conference championship game by even more than 4 points. So the debate, the thing that came down to it, is, my question is, the criteria. Did they get it right on putting in the best? I think they got it right. I personally think they got it right. I don't believe, but I want to get away with these deserve. You know, Johnny may deserve to get in the game because he done been at every practice, every meeting. He ain't missed nothing, but Johnny can't shoot, or Johnny can't don't know his plays. You know what I'm saying? But he deserved to get in on this game because he's been there. Participation type of trophy type of deal. But would the committee look at two things? Now putting more weight, 'cause I think they still got to put the most deserving and the best deserved, most deserving, as well as the best four top teams. In this case, it'll be 12 here soon, so you're gonna worry about that. But top four, the best four teams in the nation, also the most deserving. But I wonder had that scale been flipped, because to me, apparently, it was clear that it was more so about the most deserving this year over the best four teams. And the reason I say that, the embarrassment was necessary. We needed this year. This is my man Chris James. I got to go ahead and put his word out there. The embarrassment was necessary. We needed this year for a team like TCU to make it so fans can stop looking for the Cinderella story and let real contenders get voted in. I agree with. I kind of have agreements with that. You know, there was almost like, let's go ahead and put them out their misery. Let's go ahead and shut this stuff down, shut it up, shut it down. But I was getting to, are they going to try to weigh the scale more? So, you know, I think this year was more so about the most deserving, and then a little bit of percentage of the best four best teams. Okay, I think they went highly on the most deserving, most versus the best four teams. And also, I think, you know, and what made that more evident is that when TCU lost, when they lost their game, you don't drop. Like, you don't even drop one spot. Come on, man. Come on. You're looking at a Kansas State team that wasn't ranked like that. That wasn't even a top level team to that point. You know, but it gave them fits during the season. And you look at Kansas State, and you look at their season of what Kansas State put together this year. TCU, better yet, I'm sorry. Kansas State had them beat the first time, and TCU came back in the fourth quarter to win that game by, I think, by 10 points at the end. But a week before then, they was almost beat by a Baylor team who didn't even make I don't think they even made a bowl game. Definitely was like more than like a 5 to 6 game lose, 5 to 6 lost team. And they had multiple close calls. A lot of people don't want to look at that as well. They always talk, they want to harp on, well, Bama didn't do this, Bama didn't do that. Bama should do. They almost got beat by Texas A&M. But we don't talk about Texas in the aspect that when they lost that game, or when Bama did win that game, they won it with the backup quarterback. The defending Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback was injured still at that time. So, but still found a way to win and get away with a great win with a team that has formidable athletes on their team as well. Texas A&M has been putting in top 5 class in the last 4 or 5 years. Now, my man, what's my man name? I think it's Fisher, hasn't done much when it comes to the win-loss column, but he's been recruiting his butt off. He's been a heck of a recruiter for a long time. And so he's been doing his thing. Now, when it comes to that, and I agree with you, Chris, they lost to Kansas State and got in. That's my point. That was really sick and very, and I don't want to go as far as saying sick, but they kind of told the story of, we ain't want Bama in. We ain't doing that. Nah, we're not having we're not having 2 SEC teams in. And I almost feel like had Tennessee maybe had some close losses or whatever, or LSU had put up a very competitive game against Georgia and hadn't lost previously before then in a demoralizing fashion, I don't feel they would have done that. I feel if LSU would have been close in there and put a fight up against Georgia and hadn't lost a previous game before then, I believe TCU loss would have cost them to fall out of the Cinderella position and out of the college football playoffs, and they would have put LSU in. But I think it was something about, no, we ain't doing Bama. Bama finally gave us a true real reason not to put them in, so doggone it, we ain't putting them in this year. Now, anyway, let me go back to the TCU season. A lot of people don't look at this, but 29-28 against Baylor. This was the third to last week of the football season. And you talk about a Baylor team who went 6-5. So they did play in a bowl game, but got beat by Air Force, 30-15. Got lost 2 touchdown loss by them. Then you're gonna round that back to bring it back again. We got to look at these things as what this team really was doing. You got another team in They played Texas by a touchdown. All right, they ended up coming back behind and beating Texas by a touchdown. TCU a barely 10-point lead on that one. Another team that was struggling, a little 5 or 6 loss team on there as well. West Virginia didn't even make the playoffs. Only one beat them by 10 points. Fourth quarter comeback as well. They was good for coming back. Now I give them that. They fought to the end. Like I spoke earlier, when Kansas State and TCU played, and Kansas State TCU ended up beating Kansas State by 10 points and was able to come back from behind in the fourth quarter as well. Oklahoma State, 43-40. That's a 3-point win against a team that they wasn't even ranked, that they should have been able to pretty much run through at that time. Should have been able to handle them. I think TCU ended up, like I said, they didn't end up with a bowl at all. They didn't make it to a bowl game this year. I'm sorry, they take it back. They played Wisconsin, lost 24-17 against Wisconsin in the bowl game. And what that did for their season, they ended up putting them at a 7-6 overall record. Once again, not a formidable team to have on your resume to struggle against. But this is what TCU was putting up all year. But it was going under the radar, and all they were seeing was all the masses were seeing, oh, TCU win. They won again. They weren't saying that they weren't playing against quality competition. And even that quality competition the competition they were playing against, they were not dominating it in any facet. Another team, Kansas, fourth quarter comeback again, 38-31, simply by a touchdown. So you looking at a team, man, SMU, they struggled against them. I'm looking at a TCU team, man, that was not out here dominating the competition in a weak Big 12. Yet they was getting rewarded because they was winning. They was finding a way to win. And that's the point. It is to find a way to win. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, those things kind of, but you cannot deny the playoff. I enjoyed watching the playoff, the first round, the semifinal round, because I think it put up some very good, just some battles, man. I mean, I look at it now, looking back in hindsight, the championship was against Ohio State and Georgia, which that game, I'm Ohio State, you got to feel pretty sick because you can see what you probably would have, what you would have been able to do, even if you would have put them in that type of facet of a victory. Because I believe Georgia played the best game they probably have ever played all season, or just in general. It was almost flawless. They was knocking heads, taking names that whole night against TCU. I don't think TCU could have done anything. It could have played a little bit better, of course, but it was just, at the end of the day, they was overmatched from the beginning. And then to have Georgia bring their A game, Council Christmas is over. Looking into, nevertheless, I don't want to take away from what Georgia or what TCU did. They got there. They found a way to get there. They found a way to shock Michigan. Take 2 pick six back to the house, a fumble recovery on the 1-yard line when Michigan was going to score, which really broke the back and really became a detrimental and they couldn't recover from that type of a loss on Michigan. Michigan was the better team, but they caused too many mistakes, But like I said, those things went to that. You got to reward TCU for being able to get there. I think right now, in addition to that, I think this is the last time. We're going to be seeing the overwhelming support by the committee when it comes to a Cinderella team, because all these things I just pointed out to you guys about TCU season and the way they were winning these games, the committee saw that too. The committee was well aware, whether they was not aware during real time when these happening, but when they got into the meeting, they had to look at those records, and it's called one thing they call game control. All right, game control. TCU didn't have that. TCU didn't have the overwhelming defensive performance that they was talking about. They went a 3-3-5, which okay in Big 12, but not in the SEC. And you can see that they say, yeah, we see this, we know the real truth about that, but we want to give them a chance. We can kind of shut the critics up about this, the fans, about not giving the TCU the team that they should give them a chance to get in there and yada yada yada. I think that has been shut up for a long time. So if you're a Cinderella, not a big Power 5 school, or not coming out of the major conferences like the SEC or the Big 10, and the ACC, unless you're Clemson and maybe Florida State, Miami, still kind of have some of that reputation. But if you're not these conferences, man, and I'm not even talking about the Pac-12, unless you're USC, it's gonna be tough, man. That loss was very devastating to their opportunity to be able to get in the future. Now, of course, you go to the 12 team, you're gonna have some of them get in, but you go to the 12 team, you're not gonna be you're gonna still have to fight, because now I think it's very clear you're going to be seeing multiple SEC teams being represented within the playoff system, in addition to a few Big Ten teams, and everybody else kind of gets sprinkled in there. So the powers that be are still going to be existing, and I think it's going to be hurting them. But I think, again, at the end of the day, I saw what Alabama was able to bring out a dominating performance when it came to their player. It came to Kansas State. People wonder, was Alabama going to have a letdown or this and that? I think, fortunately and unfortunately, Alabama started playing their best ball later on in the season. I think when they finally, and a lot of people don't look at it, this part of it as well. They were dealing with injuries. With the injury, the big injury was Bryce Young, not healthy. When he hurt his shoulder against, I forgot what game it was, and he ended up missing Texas A&M game, another game. You could tell, even when he came back, he really wasn't healthy. It wasn't fully healthy because his deep balls wasn't the same. You had never seen Bryce underthrow deep balls as much as he did, or not put it out on top of the shoulder, but put it on their front shoulder instead of their upfield shoulder. Those things like that were small things that you can but you see, as he kept on going, he started progressing slowly but surely. And then we began to see the real Bryce Young that we have been used to seeing. Still spectacular even when he wasn't healthy, but it's like, okay, this guy, he's special. But anyway, that goes with that, man. And now you also hear this thing here coming out. I want to talk about the next thing. Shout out, most importantly, to the University of Georgia Bulldogs and Stetson Bennett. A huge victory for them. The program back-to-back national champions. Haven't done it. It hasn't been done since Alabama did it back in 2011, 2012. So hats off to them. Hats off to Kirby Smart, who was also my defensive back coach as well. We coached the safeties that time, but we always worked together as a BB in the corner. Shout out to him, man, being my former coach at the University of Alabama, where he was there from 07 to 2015. To 07 to 2015. Man, well deserved. A guy that took that same mentality, that dog take no prisoners mentality from Alabama over to Georgia. And I mean, you see that defense. You see Kirby Smart footprint, handprint, cheek print, chin print, all over it. That defense is beautiful, man. Beautiful. Putting multiple first rounders in there off of that defense, and it's reloading, man. Doing what they should do. Doing what that, as I said, that Bama way. We're bringing over to UGA. So shout out to them. Don't take nothing from them. And also a stellar career for Stetson Bennett, the former walk-on. Respect to him. Now, moving forward into this, guys, people say Georgia may be the new Bama. Let's go and get this straight. And not the new Bama. Georgia simply is new Clemson. Okay, on to the next. Alabama, number one recruiting class. That's not twist. We ain't going nowhere. Bama's still here, baby. Number one recruiting class once again. The best recruiting class actually in the era, and since they've been tracking even better than Texas A&M last year when it comes to having the most top 100 players, 300 players in their position. Also, the top 20 players out of their position, holding it down. Shameless plug, roll tide. As you can see, where my lines at, but no, or lies. But let's move on to this one, guys. This is another one topic that I want to kind of briefly talk on before we end it, man. We have had a big showing. My man, our man, Pete Golding has officially, era has ended at the University of Alabama. He has carried his talents. He has carried his coaching to Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin. And truth be told, I really feel like more so with him. I don't really feel like it was a move that he decided to take. I think he pretty much was going to be forced out. But Saban don't like firing coordinators, firing coaches in general. I can't think of a really coach that he has fired if I can think of versus that took jobs, other positions, other places like that. And to avoid that firing on their resume. It's been more so, Saban has been, if anything, has been more of a rehab facility for a lot of coaches to revamp and rejuvenate their career and go out and get better job, i.e. Lane Kiffin coming from from USC, then Tennessee and things like that. And then now all of a sudden, bam, he became the hot topic coach to get a hold of after a few years at Alabama as offensive coordinator. Pete Golding, man, I do wish him well. Because everything I've heard about the guy, and even the time I was coming down there to work on the football camps and things of that nature, coming back to UA doing spring games and things of that nature, A Day, never heard anything bad about him. Had a chance to meet him briefly, not nothing, no big conversation, anything like that. But the guy was a nice guy. Really was a good, nice guy, well spoken, kind, but I come from an era of Joe Kynes. With that being said, Kirby Smart, Kevin Steele, and they were cool, but they weren't nice people. They weren't the nicest guys. They wasn't. They wasn't just that. They weren't just so nice. They. Well, I'm not saying they were jerks. I'm not saying you got to be there to be a defensive coordinator, but you could tell they had the dog in them, and I loved it. And it produced. And also Jeremy Pruitt, he was the GA when I was there. These guys had a certain edge about themselves, a certain dog about themselves that I didn't see and didn't feel and get from Pete Golden. And I think it's safe to say if you've been playing in the sport, any level of any sport, you know that you take on the personality of your coach. And you get to college, you're gonna have position coaches. A lot of position coaches, you can be in high school depending on the size of your school. When I was coming out, it was more so about pretty much a coach here. But now college, you had your position coaches, and that's who you really develop that mentality after, because they trickle it down from the head coach, then the position coach trickle it down to you, and they set that tone. Which you can look at it over the last few years. He's been there since 2018 up to now, 5 seasons, and we have steadily seen the defense boom, 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 boom. But yet still we have seen the classification of the players, the rankings of the players coming in the 4 or 5 star go from here, 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 stand there consistently. All right. So can't nobody tell me and say that it's really about the player they don't have the players anymore. Now, would I say that some of the players hold accountability for what they do on that field? Absolutely, because the coach can't make you make tackles. The coach can't make you hustle off the ball. But what a coach can do and should do is put you in a position to be successful on the field. That is a coach's job. And I'm speaking from a player standpoint as well as a coach's standpoint, because what I've been both. I've been a college football coach at a junior college I was in for a few years, as well as a player. And the best thing you got to do is you can't make the play for them, but you are obligated to put them in the best position to be successful. And far too many times throughout his tenure, I have seen the players not be in a position to be successful. And you're like, what are you coaching? What is this? Why are we playing this? Why this guy dropping back? Why the D lineman dropping back right now? Him at all? Why? You utilize their strengths better. And you can tell the physicality wasn't as much as there. It's almost like it was too much going on to the point where it was taking away their physicality for them being more imposing on their defense. And now, mind you, I'm not saying that they haven't had successful players. Bama done put multiple first round defensive players in the league since he had been there before and since. Quentin Williams. Come on, you got some a lot of players that's been doing a thing there and continue. Fitzpatrick, has been there. But it's been too much. I think Patrick may have been there before he left. No, he was gone before I think Golden came in as a D coordinator. I know Tosh was there on 2018 for one season. Then that's when Pete came to take his spot. But I think Pete was there in 2017 as well. However, he wasn't in that position just yet. But you can see, man, things just wasn't really shaping up. And it's like, man, something got to be changed. So this is getting redundant. Alabama, we've been known. That's what we do. We play defense. We bust heads. We get it in. We go hard. We go hard or we go home, man. And to see teams being able to run up and down the field like they were, and it's almost becoming into a who going to outscore who type of deal. And because we was fortunate enough to be able to have, in his tenure, have superior players and quarterback play, specifically quarterback play, and get protection in line, we were able to outlast a lot of teams and just overwhelm them with the skill set that we had. But we became so offensive minded. It's almost like what's going on with the defense? Why they seem like we can't count on defense, losing third downs, trying to get up the field, third down conversions. It was almost like holding our breath. I remember back in the day in 2012, 13, those eras, 2009. Third and whatever it was, third and whatever. Oh, they ain't getting this. They got the field. We're gonna stop this. Now it's almost third down. Oh Lord, gotta win third. Please win third down. Win third down. Win third down. because you didn't know what's going to happen. And that was very demoralizing and frustrating for especially myself and the former players. We got a group chat, and knowing the standard and knowing how important it is and knowing that speaks volume, that says something. That the identity, that fear factor, it wasn't there like it needed to be. So I think that was a big move that I think that had to be made. It was bound to happen with Pete Golden moving on, and however fast it took place, as long as it got done. With that being said, we're looking for some replacements now. Who are replacement now? I'm hearing it's rumbling. We hearing Jeremy Pruitt, very familiar face. Homer, Rainsville played there as well, former player as well. Now, of course, he was former coach there. I was able to be coached up under him as well, working with him. He was GA there, and then the coach, of course, also at camps and things like that. Um, so we got Glenn Schumann. Tell you the thing about Schumann, man. I'm so proud of this young man. And I say young man because I'm actually older than him. You know what I'm saying? Crazy at this point, but well, we might maybe right around the same age, but I really feel like I'm a little older than him slightly. But anyway, I remember him as a GA. I remember him, uh, when he was even on the field. He was just getting into the game and learning it. And but man, I think he really got there in '08. So I actually just had finished. But first of all, I feel he was around before then. And anyway, he was working the compliance up in the office and everything as an analyst, I think what it was. And I remember the football camps I used to come down to and to be able to work with him, and just seeing him, man, just was able to dissect the defense front to back, man, and seeing him out there working. I'm like, dang, this Schumann doing it like this? Okay, that's what's up. I can see yearly his development. I can see every time I would come back, his development had grown, his confidence, even his voice was changing. His voice was getting deeper and heavier and more authoritative, and just more assured of himself. And now going over to Georgia, when he left, when Kirby Smart left, he took Schumann with him. Like, he clearly saw, like, this is gonna be my guy. This is gonna be a guy. And so even though he hadn't got to that D coordinator position just yet, he was pretty much working right at that. And so I think now he's a former alumni of Alabama as well. He's in the race to get that spot. What we're hearing, maybe to bring back to the capstone. I would be rooting for him. And in addition, like I said, Jeremy Pruitt, I think that could be a 2-for-1, because what I'm hearing now, Jeremy Pruitt is speaking about him wanting to kind of earn his reps back, or earn his stripes, so to speak. So he's not wanting to come in as a D coordinator, not the head man. He want to potentially work with the linebackers, and over time earn his stripes and get back into that position. And this is something I like it. I think that sounds really humbling, and very. To me, it shows he got a lot of self-awareness as to what he wants to do and earn the respect and the trust, not only of himself maybe, but his peers, other coaches and things of that nature, and just dealing with the pressure. Make sure you get yourself under control, not under control, but just knowing you make sure you're making the right decisions, because how things went down at Tennessee definitely didn't leave a good taste, I'm sure, in his mouth. And those who knew him and rooted for him, like such as myself, it was a bit alarming and surprising that some of the accusations that was heard about him, how he was moving and doing different things. But nevertheless, I would think that'd be a good addition to have him 2-for-1 in there, him and Schumann. And then let's go move outside beyond that. We are hearing also about Leonard from Wisconsin, Jim Leonard, man, which was a former walk-on at the University of Wisconsin. Went on to play for the New York Jets for multiple years, became one of the top safeties in the NFL, and then moved back after the coaching, came back to Wisconsin, and was able to really have a good reign with them. I forgot his years that he was there, a few years there, and really has just developed a really good, solid name as a good, heady coach, good D coordinator. Coach is friendly as well, because him being a former player himself, and it really is spoken highly of. So I think that could be a potential good position for a good candidate for us to go after and pull them in. Now, last but not least, above all of them, I gotta be straight up. This is a far fetched. I don't think it's going to happen. For all the right reasons. D'Amico Ryans. Yeah, D'Amico Ryan, the former scholar, All-American linebacker out of the University of Alabama, and went on to have a heck of a career for the Houston Texans and the Philadelphia Eagles. Also, a former teammate of mine that was down there. When I tell you firsthand, that guy was the smartest, wisest player I have ever been around. Outside of him is him, and then Roman Harper is a close second. Roman Harper was just a savvy, just guy. He just got it. He just had it. But when it comes to somebody that was spoke highly in the room, in classroom, as well as on the football field, and it translated to Big Ryan's, man. And so I'm not surprised at all with the position that he has been able to gain so fast in the NFL as a defensive coordinator of the 49ers, San Francisco 49ers, who balling. Defense is some savages out there. And the reason why I say I feel it's a dark horse and a far-fetched reality, because D'Amico's name is starting to be rumbled into positions as potentially being a hiring, getting interviews for head coaching NFL jobs. Head coaching. You don't get there and get all that and then decide just to throw it away. Oh, I ain't gonna throw it away, but just okay, I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna go to college, go back to my hometown, my home state, and coach at my alma mater. It would be beautiful. It would be great, but I don't think that's realistic, and I'm not sure that would even be a great move. And the reason why, because you got to be willing to get out there and people know D'Amico. D'Amico's not. He's a, I don't know. He'll do what he got to do, of course, but he's a quiet guy. He don't really do a lot of words, a lot of talking and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, can he do it? Absolutely, I'm sure he can do it. So he can do anything he put his mind to. But do you want to be on that ground of having to recruit? Get out there and recruit, going into these houses, sitting down, talk to mama and them and daddy them and auntie and all that, that goes with it. Are you ready and willing to be able to do that when you became out of the pro ranks for so long and that just haven't been a part of what you need to do or have to do? So that's a good question about that you got to look into for him personally. And also, I'm not sure if I want to, we Bama fans are pretty crucial. They ain't gonna take lightly the long at all. Okay, who you are. They may take one season at best. After that, you got to find a way to produce. You got to find a way, yada yada. Now, do I feel like he won't produce? No, I'm not saying that at all. But just it's a big microscope, man. Do you really want to even put your reputation on the line under that situation? And some of the demands that Coach Saban may have is like, well, I'll come out of programs, bro. We don't do all that, So it's multiple things, man. But I would love to have a buff. If I can pick out of the bucket, I'm going with D'Amico Ryans because I know what this guy can do and what he has done and who he is when it comes to being on that gridiron and just the man that grown to know to be. So, but anyway, that's the breakdown, man. It's talking about what we got going on. Pete Golden is out now. The race and the run is on to find the next the coordinator, and I'm really hoping and believing and praying, man, that they're gonna find the right one. Say they're gonna find that guy, identify who that is, and put him in that position to be the most successful, to help our team be successful, to get back to the Bama way, man, to the smash mouth, no holds bars type of play that I know that we can bring to the table. So without further ado, man, let's break it down for tonight. I wanted to kind of hit on these couple of topics and everything. As you see now, we also Bama also shout out to just college football, man, for another successful season. Shout out to basketball season is going on now. We also got the University of Alabama basketball. Nate Oates, man, got them boys playing number 4 in the nation, and I'm telling you, it's gonna break some smoke. Gonna bring some smoke, man. Gonna bring some smoke here. But anyway, guys, that's what I want to kind of talk about. A couple of these topics and things, man. Feel free. It's going to be posted up. Feel free to chime in. Leave your comment down below. Even after the chat is over with, guys, you can still be able to comment and review the footage here for this live. Again, this is an impromptu type of deal. Thank you for your time and your effort and your posts and all that great stuff, guys. Other than that, once again, subscribe to the channel, guys. E36 Unfiltered YouTube page. Also, Instagram, you can find us at E36 Unfiltered. Likewise, on all audio platforms, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public. Find us all over the place, man. So we just get started. We out of here, guys. Signing out. Thank you so much. Have a great, blessed night. Be great.
Okay.
E36 Unfiltered, aka the Unfiltered Room with Mr. E Great. Introducing all the latest names and the latest news. Hottest take, he the new face, yeah, the new sound, but keep it old school and raw interviews from local